Disgusting jokes. Two girls take a walk on a hot summer day. They see an old lady sitting in front of her house eating watermelon. They notice she isn't wearing any panties. Is it cooler without panties? They ask. She says, I don't know if it's cooler, but it sure keeps the flies off the watermelon. Chuck Norris jokes. Chuck Norris once leaned on the Tower of Pisa. Dirty jokes. Why chocolate is better than sex? You can get chocolate. Chocolate satisfies, even when it's gone soft. You can safely have chocolate while you are driving. You can have chocolate in public. If you bite the nuts, the chocolate won't mind. The word commitment doesn't scare off chocolate. You don't get hairs in your mouth with chocolate. No need to fake your enjoyment of chocolate. Chocolate doesn't make you pregnant. You can have chocolate at any time of the month. You are never too young or too old for chocolate. Size doesn't matter, though more is still better. Marriage jokes. A man's wife asks him to go to the store to buy her cigarettes. He walks there, only to find it closed. So, he goes into a nearby bar to use their vending machine. At the bar he sees a beautiful woman and starts talking to her. They have a couple of beers and eventually end up in her apartment. After they've had some fun, he realizes it's 3 a.m. and says, "My wife's going to kill me. Do you have any talcum powder?" The woman gives him some talcum powder, which he rubs on his hands and then goes home. His wife is waiting for him in the doorway and screeches, "Where the hell have you been?" "Well, honey, it's like this. I went to the store like you asked, but they were closed. So I went to the bar to use the vending machine. I saw this great-looking chick there, we had a few drinks. One thing led to another, and I ended up in bed with her." "Oh yeah? Let me see your hands." She sees his hands are covered with powder and says, "You liar. You went bowling again." Marriage jokes. "Man, you've brought religion into my life." "Woman, really? How?" "Man, until I met you, I didn't believe in hell." Marriage jokes. On the day of her wedding to Prince Edward, Sophie gets dressed and realizes that she forgot her shoes. Panic sets in until her sister loans her another pair of shoes. Unfortunately they are a bit too small and at the end of the night, Sophie's feet are in agony. The rest of the royal family crowds around the door to the bedroom and they hear grunts, straining noises and the occasional muffled scream. Eventually, they hear Edward say, "God, that was tight." "There," whispers the Queen to the Duke, "I told you she was a virgin." Then, to their surprise, they hear Edward say, "Right. Now for the other one." Followed by more grunting and, "My God! That was even tighter." "That's my boy," says the Duke. "Once a sailor, always a sailor." Marriage jokes. At St. Peter's Catholic Church in Toronto, they have weekly husbands' marriage seminars. At the session last week, the priest asked Giuseppe, who said he was approaching his 50th wedding anniversary, to take a few minutes and share some insight into how he had managed to stay married to the same woman all these years. Giuseppe replied to the assembled husbands, "Well, Iva tried to treat her nicely, spended a money on her, but best of all is, I took her to Italy for the 25th anniversary." The priest responded, "Giuseppe, you are an amazing inspiration to all the husbands here. Please tell us what you are planning for your wife for your 50th anniversary." Giuseppe proudly replied, "I gonna go pick her up." Chuck Norris jokes. Chuck Norris doesn't have an ESC key on his computer, no one ever escapes Jokes about life. There was 3 people approaching the gates of heaven, but there was only one place left. The gatekeeper asked the first man what happened to him, because the one with the worst death would go in. The first man said, "Well, imagine that I expected my wife was having an affair, so I got home early to surprise her. I found her in the bathroom with a towel round her, so I knew she wasn't having a shower, so I searched the apartment and found 10 fingers hanging from the window sill. So I started bashing away at them. When he fell, God must have loved him, because he lived. So I threw a refrigerator at him. After all the excitement, I died of a heart attack." "That's horrific," said the gatekeeper. He asked the second man how he died, and he said, "Well, imagine this, I was riding one of those stationary bike on the top of our apartment building, but it went wrong. I fell down and grabbed someone's windowsill. Then some idiot started bashing my fingers, then I fell, but God must have loved me because I lived then. SHANNOOWWWWW, a refrigerator plunged down at me, that is too horrific." He asked the third man how he died, and he said, "Well, imagine that I was naked in a refrigerator." Chuck Norris jokes. Chuck Norris protects his airbag in an accident.